Imagine this. You are standing on 600 acres of ancient timberland that has been in your family for 140 years. Trees your great-grandfather planted with his own hands before Oregon even had a single paved road. One morning, a woman in a white Escalade pulls up to your gate, looks you dead in the eye through tinted windows and says, "Your forest is an eyesore. Trim every visible tree to match our neighborhood aesthetic in 30 days, or we fine you $200 every single day until you do." She doesn't know your name. She doesn't know your history. She doesn't know she has just declared war on 5 generations of blood, sweat, and pine sap. My name is Garrett Caldwell. This is the story of how one HOA Karen tried to put a fence around my entire legacy, and how one single meeting made her entire board resign in front of the whole county. I am 53 years old, 5th-generation timberman on 612 acres of old-growth Douglas fir in the foothills, outside Baker City, eastern Oregon. My great-great-grandfather Elias filed the original land claim in 1884. He broke the ground with a mule named Pete, and a crosscut saw, built the first cabin by hand, and he is buried under a white oak on the northeast ridge with his wife and 2 kids who didn't survive the first winter. 3 more generations went into that soil after him. This land isn't real estate, it is legacy, it is memory, it is the only place I've ever felt completely at home. I manage it sustainably, selective cuts every 15–20 years so the forest regrows naturally. Creek stays clean for steelhead runs, ridge views catch 3 mountain peaks on clear November mornings. The barn my great-grandfather built in 1889 still stands. East wall leaning a little like, it is tired, but standing. On a good day, I smell like pine pitch and diesel. I consider that a compliment. Then in 2021, a Portland developer named Dwight Putt buys 40 acres from my elderly neighbor Walt Hennessy at a fair price. No grudge there, but Dwight plats Cascade Ridge Estates, 41 cookie, cutter lots, a double-wide-sized clubhouse, and CCRS drafted by a city lawyer who has never stepped in real mud, buried in tiny font, Section 14, subsection C. Any property sharing 50+ feet of boundary with a platted lot is suddenly under HOA aesthetic rules and assessments. My south fence line shares 400 feet, just like that. My 600-acre working timberland is subject to their HOA. The woman who shows up is Vonda Puett, Dwight's wife, self-appointed HOA president. No election, no vote. She drives up my gravel track in a white Escalade, doesn't get out at first, just stares like my trees personally offend her, rolls the window down just enough. "Mr. Caldwell, your property is creating an aesthetic liability. Trim your foliage to conformity in 30 days or face $200 daily fines." My hands were shaking when she left, not from fear. From the kind of rage you only feel when someone tries to claim what has never been theirs. I did the smartest thing possible. Nothing. Strategically, deliberately, beautifully, nothing. Let the 30 days expire. No response. No lawyer letter. I got up at 5 a.m., ran the chainsaw, hauled logs, came home smelling like fresh cut fir, sharp and sweet like Christmas in October. Day 31, first $200 fine, filed in a folder labeled HOA nonsense. Day 45, Vonda returns, snapping photos from the car. Next letter lists 11 violations. My 1889 barn is an uncertified wood structure. My trees are unmanaged encroachment. My fence is non-standard boundary marking. Total claimed $1,400. I kept waiting. Fines climbed to $7,600 by month 2. I kept breathing the rain, soaked ridge air called my cousin Delia. A paralegal in Eugene sent her everything. CC FARs, forest management plan, county records, conservation easement on the riparian buffer. She calls back laughing. They don't even know what an easement is. First trap. The creek buffer easement, filed years before their plat, is senior. Land trust holds it. They don't play with HOA's second trap. Oregon Law Ors 94.630 says HOA. Covenants bind only lots inside the plat. Not adjacent timberland. Their contiguous clause is legally junk. Printed it all. Started a thick 3-ring binder. Then, Enforcement Officer Brandon shows up at the gate with a clipboard. I ask, "You got a warrant?" He leaves in 10 seconds. HOAs have zero police power. No entry without consent or court order. Vonda files a zoning complaint claiming my operation is incompatible with residential use. But my land is protected under Oregon's forest land classification and right to forest statutes. Zoning board dismisses it in 2 weeks. Word spreads at the diner. Vonda sends a cease and desist for defamation. My old friend Clifton, 71, year timber lawyer, laughs. Cease and desist letters are threats, not orders. No teeth. Now we go offense. Public records pull. No HOA elections ever. Board void under ORS 94.625. Notary stamp expired. Defective CCRs. They bulldozed Walt's protected oak windbreak. Deed violation. Photos prove it. Construction loan covenant broken. Bank furious. 11 homeowners sign petition for special meeting. Clock starts. Bank rep coming. State DCB's investigation opened. Local paper story queued. Walt, 91. Furious with his own lawyer. Vonda panics, offers $500 grants to buy votes. Fiduciary breach. Threatens the newspaper. Anti-slap shield. Hires investigators for bogus complaints. I already had compliance letters, all backfires. Dwight calls at dawn. Misunderstanding. Drop fines. $15 K to stay away. I mention the Oaks. Offer jumps to $30 K. I say no. Meeting night, clubhouse packed. 46 people. Bank rep. DCB's official. Walt front row. Reporter in back. Clifton stands. This board was never elected. Every fine, every action, void. Drops the defective notary. Election failure. Loan breach. Easement. Oak violation. Bank rep. We are reviewing loan implications. I stand. I am 5th generation. I didn't ask for this. I want the fines erased. My land declared outside jurisdiction and an election tonight. Gloria, teacher who got the vote. By letter moves. Board resign. Immediate election. Vote. 31 Faithry. Vonda resigns by text message. Rutherford stares at the table. Page quits the group chat while sitting there. New board elected on the spot. Gordon, Gloria, and Walt. Standing ovation that shakes the walls. Aftermath was fast, then slow. New board wipes $24,000 in fines. Writes my land out of their jurisdiction. Holds proper election. Walt's lawsuit settles. 60 new oaks replanted along the boundary. Bank audits Dwight hard. DCBS issues compliance order. Newspaper story goes regional. New HOA creates Caldwell Timber Heritage Fund. 5% of dues to forestry scholarships for local kids. Walt passed at 92. His ashes scattered near the young oaks. I still wake at 5 a.m. Make coffee, sit on the porch, watching mist rise off the creek while the forest breathes in the early light. Barn still leans. 140 years still mine. They tried to fence my blood. I turned their paperwork into sawdust. Where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. State, town, rural road, city apartment, whatever. And if you've got your own HOA nightmare, tell me.